Hi, Bianca Matthews submitting a video submission for MyEffect. So firstly, what effect does social media have on my life and my peers? So in this day and age, social media has become a driving force for many tasks. In fact, it has become a situation where we are reliant on social media. Though this may seem like a negative thing, because no one should be reliant on one sole thing, so this has also allowed us to turn social media into something we can use every day since we're already using it. So through my peers, I see that they use social media to promote their own clubs or to promote different projects that they're doing. And I think that this is a very positive and meaningful way to grow their projects and their initiatives and seek larger audiences. So helping them in the end and being very beneficial. In my life, I see that social media, though it does have its downsides, that I am too reliant on it, I am able to connect with other people I may not be able to in person due to distance differences. I am able to make more business connections, educational connections, and better my future through this. So I think that social media does have a lot of positive and meaningful benefits for my life and others' lives as well. So why I think making a difference and addressing global challenges is important to my generation is that our generation right now is what is going to affect the future. So my generation, we have the opportunity to address different problems and start initiatives for different problems that will affect the future, because my generation is the future. So I think that making a difference and addressing these issues will enable us to make a change. If you start from when you're young, the project will be able to have time to grow and to flourish as you mature, making the project even bigger and even better than it could have been if you started later. So I think even if you think you're too young to say something and make a change, say something, because everybody's voice needs to be heard. And whether or not you're 15 or you're 25, a voice is a voice. And by addressing a problem or addressing a global challenge that you think needs to be addressed, it could fall onto the right ears and someone could hear what you have to say and they could maybe even make a change on your behalf. So as I said, our generation, we do have the power to make change, whether we think that or not, but there are companies and influencers that have the power to make change as well. So companies and influencers, unlike us, they have huge audiences that can reach different parts of the world. So I think companies and influencers have a huge role, or should have a huge role, in discussing and putting emphasis on problems that are affecting our world today, because people look for inspiration from these companies and people, and if they see that people that they look up to or companies that they like are putting emphasis on problems such as like poverty or discrimination in schools, for example, if they see that who they like, they're putting emphasis on that, their audience may put emphasis and start focusing towards those global challenges as well. So right now, I think that companies and influencers, they're starting to address these global challenges. In the past, they haven't been addressed, but with movements such as #MeToo or Black Lives Matter, these famous influencers and even companies have been addressing these issues, and they've been reaching the masses and starting global movements across the globe, such as the Women's March. And many celebrities, even politicians, come out and support these. And if we see that people higher up and people that we look towards are supporting this, it just furthers the impact and furthers the movement in general. If I see that a company or an influencer is making the effort to make a change, then I would view them as I would view them in a different light. More so, I would have more respect for their character because they are using their platform for something important that needs to be addressed. So, as I stated, I think it's extremely important for brands and influencers to share their impact because they can reach a larger audience than we can. Though it is possible for someone normal as myself to reach a large audience, it's way more likely for someone with 500,000 to 1 million followers on a social media platform to reach more people than myself. So it is important for these figures to talk about these issues. So how do I want to make an impact in the world? I want MyEffect to be more inspiring. I want to be able to inspire generations after myself to continue the movement of addressing these issues. By doing this, I want to make sure that I'm a leader in whatever I'm doing. For example, I'm the chair of my own leadership conference in my region, my school region. I have my own initiative addressing a global issue such as poverty. I am starting an initiative addressing mental health issues and stigma in our society. And I believe if I inspire others my age or younger to do the same as myself, and they see that someone their age is able to achieve different things and put their mind to something, it will inspire others to do the same. And this will just be able to keep the ball rolling and make sure that the issues are always being addressed. So my first impression of MyEffect's impact resume is that I think it could be very beneficial to myself and to my peers. So I think when I saw my impact resume first, I thought that it is needed for people of my age, 16, 17, 18, so approaching their adolescent or adult years. It's very beneficial mostly to our age group because we have a lot of volunteer experience or a lot of leadership experience, but we don't have a lot of leadership experience in the workforce because we're not old enough to get that experience. So I think that this impact resume, as they do track your success as you're doing a task, so they track it while you're doing your volunteer work, it provides more authenticity and more verification to your volunteer task. So even though you're lacking, for example, in the workforce, so you only have done one part-time job, the authenticity that MyEffect's impact resume gives you due to their new and improved system of tracking will be able to make up for your lacking in the workforce. So an employer will be able to look at what you've achieved and see the authenticity and verification of your volunteer work, and that will be able to compensate for your lack of work experience. And this will enable people my age to get more job opportunities and gain that experience needed to excel in the workforce. So thank you for listening to my take on MyEffect's impact resume.